Hi guys, welcome back to another video. This is a gameplay video for the beta version of Battlefield 3, which technically was released yesterday. Although it was a little bit sly. I mean, I was one of the people who pre-ordered Medal of Honor for my sins. Even though, to be fair, I quite like it. It's just a shame that it didn't really take off, and I think EA just threw the towel in with that game. Once they realised that it wasn't going to compete with Bad Company 2, or obviously particularly Call of Duty, they just stopped supporting the game, and as a result, a lot of people stopped playing it. Now, there are a few hardcore people still on the game, but essentially, you know, it's done and dusted now, which is a shame because I didn't mind it. It's not amazing, but I didn't mind it. But anyway, one of the perks of buying or pre-ordering or getting it when it first came out within them first few weeks, I guess, few months, of getting Medal of Honor was that you had early access, or were going to be allowed early access to the beta for Battlefield 3. Now, at the time, they did say within 12 months, and it literally has, I think, taken, 11? So they're really close to the knuckle there. But what kind of frustrated me is that in the I don't know, the last kind of couple of weeks, or last week, when I found out it was going to come out yesterday, I just presumed that it would come out, you know, maybe just after midnight. But no, maybe it did for some people, but for me, I only got the beta late last night at about 11 o'clock. So this is only my, I think, 4th game. I had 2 games last night, really quick. They weren't even full games. And then I had a game just before recording this. Again, it wasn't a full game. I joined halfway through. So this is, I think, the first or second full game I've had, hence being currently only ranked up to level 2. Now, I'm sure the rankings will automatically reset by the time the full game comes out, but it would be nice if it carried on. But anyway, like I say, one of the things that frustrated me was the fact that I bought Medal of Honor. I wouldn't say it, it was because, I was going to get access to the beta, because that would be a lie. But it was a nice little extra. But I didn't get it till 11 o'clock at night. So today is the only full day I can play it. Now, the public beta is released tomorrow. So everybody can get it. So it does make you question what really was the point of that. If you're going to have the beta maybe a month before someone else, then great. But just to get it essentially just 24, 36 hours before everybody else in the world, to me, isn't much of an incentive, really, not much of a reward to have bought the game. So I think that's a little bit sly from EA. Once again, EA getting a little bit greedy these days, like they never have been. But yeah, and maybe Sony to blame a little bit, possibly, in regards to servers and putting it up. Maybe it's both of them to blame, I don't know. But I wasn't that impressed with those antics there. But anyway, that aside, let's talk briefly about the gameplay. Now, I don't want anybody watching this to think that, I'm trying to show off or I'm a good player. I'm not. In fact, I don't really know a lot about the game. I do have Bad Company and Bad Company 2. I really like Bad Company 2, but I'm not amazing at it. My kind of first-person shooter games, probably Call of Duty is the one I'm pretty good at more than any of them, but I'm starting to get bored of that like a lot of people. Bad Company 2 I did play a lot of, and I do like it, and I'm alright at it, but not particularly good. And this game, the engine, the whole feel to it, is essentially Bad Company 2 to me, but just improved. Just improved, make light of it. They've definitely improved over Bad Company 2. To me, it feels a lot more fluid. Just little animations like when you're running, and I think I show it on this video several times. But as you're running, and then you go to jump over, it could be a fence, it could be a shrub, could be some bricks, whatever. It does like the jump animation. And that's quite clever how that's implemented. It doesn't really slow you down, or at least not in my experiences so far, so I like that. But other than that, and the slight graphical change here and there, there's not a great deal of difference between this and Bad Company 2. Now, what I will say is about the maps. Oh, hang on, look at this, for stupidity. There's 2 of them standing there, 2 of them looking the other way, 2 enemies. I just started firing at them, killed one of them, but then I ran out of ammunition, and by the time I went to change to my pistol, it was too late on that occasion. Really frustrating. Now, that'd be interesting. I didn't really make that much of a mental note at the time, but just watching that back, it appeared to be quite slow to pull out your pistol. And you'd have thought, if that was in a real-life scenario, in real combat, in a war zone, he'd pull out his pistol a bit quicker than that. But still, not the end of the world. But I'm not one of these people who's going to turn around and go, oh, but it's a beta, they're going to iron out all these problems. No, I'm not that naive. What we see now in the beta, or pretty much what we see in any beta that is released, is going to be what's in the full game. And I wish people would stop kidding themselves. You always see that on forums or even on YouTube. People will see, they'll play a beta like just a few weeks before it comes out, and they'll have a complaint about it, but then they'll go, oh, but it's only the beta, they'll change that. They're not going to change it. This is the game, you know. But that just always frustrates me. I'll check this out in a second. Guy runs, I'll touch upon this this flashlight thing in a sec. It's something to do with the classes, as far as I'm aware. But yeah, he shined that torch, or the flashlight, straight in my eyes. And it's really hard to see. You just literally can't see anything. The whole screen kind of goes white and blue and silver. And it's a nice little touch. But if you're on the receiving end of it, then you're screwed. A bit like there. Now, you can go prone in this game. I'm not sure if I did it, but that makes a change from Bad Company 2, where you could just crouch. On this one, you can go prone and you can crawl, which is one of the things I really loved really, I still do, always will, about Call of Duty. And what I didn't like about Battlefield, I also felt it was a little bit unrealistic. You know, why couldn't you crawl? But you can on this one, so that's good. I'm glad they've ironed that out. Now that's perfect timing, really, because what I was going to talk about was how to distinguish an enemy from a teammate, which might sound obvious, I guess. But at least on this particular game mode, what you get for your teammates is a little blue triangle, which will be above their heads. So like I say, you can easily distinguish who's on your team and who isn't. The enemy will have an orange triangle above their heads. Now, what can happen sometimes in the heat of the moment, in the heat of battle, when everyone's running around sometimes like headless chickens, it's hard to see, you know, who's on your side and who isn't, because you don't really notice the triangle, because I guess the sprites or the characters are so close up to your face, it's the last thing you see. So that guy that was walking down the subway there, or the escalator, or the stairs, whatever, as I was walking up, I just left him. I just presumed, because I'd just been respawned, I presumed that, you know, he was one of my teammates, but he wasn't. But really, you know, it's no big deal, but it can be a little bit frustrating, like I say, in the heat of battle, when people are running around, not really maybe doing what they're meant to be doing in terms of objectives. It can be a little bit frustrating to miss out on what would have been an easy kill, because you didn't see, you know, the little icon above their name. I don't know how this guy got away with that. I mean, this game, it frustrates me to a degree, in the sense that it's one of those games, a bit like Halo 3 and many others, where you have to unload quite a clip into people to polish them off. In saying that, I guess it does depend where you shoot them. You know, if it's going to be like headshots and stuff, then you pretty much got to floor them straight away. But if it's, you know, anywhere else, it just appears you've got to unload a lot of bullets. And that can be a little bit frustrating. Unlike, say, Call of Duty, which, you know, well, it can just be a couple of shots and they're finished. But that's not really a complaint to have about the game at all. In fact, really, the more I think about it, the more I like it. Because it tests your skill and makes you ultimately improve. Now let's talk a little bit about the 4 classes that are available. The first one up is the Assault/Medic. Probably obvious what that is. You know, you essentially have an assault weapon, and there's a grenade there, I think, or is it some kind of claymore or something someone had? Not quite sure. I think it was a grenade that was just flashing because someone had thrown it. But yeah, so the Assault/Medic, and ultimately you get your medipacks, which you can hand out to your teammates to give them extra health, or you can revive them and all that kind of stuff. Next one up is Support Class. Now, the Support Class is the same in the sense of a medic, where you hand out a package to someone, although in this case what you're handing out is ammunition. Now, one of the things I like about the Support Class, I don't think I did it in this video, but you can mount your LMG, and when you fire it in the direction of the enemy, then you get bonus points for providing cover fire, essentially, for all your teammates. Another thing I like is, as I said I was going to touch upon a few minutes ago, you get, I think when you choose an assault rifle, but as part of the Support Class, you can put on a flashlight, which, like I say, was that incident that happened before when a guy came running towards me, or round a corner through the tunnel, and that bright light was shining at my face. That was, I'd hazard a guess, him being a Support Class using the flashlight. I guess the downside to that is people can see you coming, but what goes in your favour is that it's really hard to aim, because they will be able to see you with the flashlight, but you can't really see them. Now, I presume they can see you, that you light up and all the rest of it. I don't use the flashlight on this, but I presume that's how it works, otherwise there's no real advantage to using it. Next up is the Engineer, and basically, one of the things I like about the Engineer is you get a rocket launcher. And I think you also get the, or is it a rocket launcher? No, I think you get the grenade launcher on the Assault/Medic. You get the rocket launcher on the Engineer. Now, later on, it's either the grenade launcher or more likely the rocket launcher, I think, that I use on the outside level after this. and I use it to pretty good effect, but I'll touch upon that, you know, in 2 or 3 minutes, whenever it is. But yeah, so that's the engineer, and obviously he can repair vehicles. Now, in this particular map, on this beta, there aren't any vehicles that I'm aware of to get in. But obviously, come the full game, there's jets, there's planes, there's helicopters, there's tanks, there's, I presume, boats, and the usual jeeps and all that kind of stuff. And last up but not least, in regards to the classes, is the recon or the sniper. Now, that's one that I usually am, and I think I'm being a sniper here. Now, you can't really see because of the lighting, very blue, but I think I kill someone in a minute. You will see by the fact that it comes up and says it on the screen. But it was a really good shot, actually, because he was trying to be a bit sneaky, and he was hiding, you know, in this little gap. And I was just waiting for the right time, and then I got him. And he was never going to get away from me, because when it comes to sniping, I've kind of pretty much perfected it. Although I have, I should say, I did do some pretty rubbish shots with the sniper rifle in this map. But come on, you know, it's my 4th game, and I'm still getting used to the controls. And I didn't really try and do anything too fancy. You know, I'm presuming from the brief experiences that I've had so far with it, that the whole control system is similar to Bad Company. It seems that way, you know, with the knife and the weapons and the throwing of the grenade and stuff. The only difference, immediate, obvious difference, being that you can go prone, which I can't remember. I think, did I touch upon that before? I can't even remember. If I did, then apologies for repeating myself. If I didn't say this, and I'm going to say it again. Oh, well, if I didn't say this, I'm going to say it for the first time. Then that is, on this game, you can go prone. So essentially, you can lie down. But you can't just lie down and stay stationary. You can lie down and move, crawl, forwards, backwards, sideways. And I really like that. That was one of the things, to me, that was missing from Bad Company. So I was pretty clever here. I was getting a few people who were just hiding, picking them off. And I think a similar situation happens in a second. That happened around about 5 minutes ago, where I saw a couple of people, but I just ran out of ammunition, stupidly. And, yeah, paid the price. But that's one of them things. You know, I didn't play this particular demo, or this beta map. I didn't play it to try and, you know, be like, hey, look at me, I'm really good. Absolutely not. I was pretty good, though. I double kill there with a pistol. And if you ever get in a situation like that, just absolutely whack the fire button. Just use all the buttons in your pistol. It's almost like just rapid fire. Just keep doing it. There you go. I don't know what happened there. I think I got him, but he got me. Something weird happened. But, yeah, like I say, what I didn't try to do on this map was to you know, kind of make it look like, hey, look at me, I'm the man, I'm great at Bad Company. My stats at the end aren't particularly great. I don't think they're good. I don't think they're bad. They're just very average, run-of-the-mill kind of scores. But like I said, I wasn't trying to show off. What I tried to do was to do a lot of different things, such as use all the classes, you know, the support, the assault, the engineer, the recon. I tried to show you what that was like. Bit of knife action there on the glass, which is nice. You know, I basically tried to do a little bit of everything. I tried to cover all the maps as much as I could. What I didn't want to do was to, you know, put a gameplay up of me. And the quality, like I say, under the circumstances of not using the capture card isn't great anyway. So to add to that annoyance, what I didn't want to do is to have an entire map or demo gameplay footage of me just standing there, sitting there in a corner. I mean, what could be more boring than that? So I tried to move around a bit, and, you know, ordinarily, usually I reckon I probably would sit back a little bit. That's kind of my gameplay. I'm not one to go in your face on Bad Company, on Battlefield. That's not really my game mode. Sometimes I do, but usually that's what I do on Call of Duty. I'm kind of in your face on Call of Duty, but on these games I'm a little bit more reserved. But like I say, what I tried to do on this one was to cover all grounds, use all the weapons, and speaking of weapons, I failed miserably with this one. I think this is the assault class. I can't quite remember with the scope on there. I mean, that's a bit ridiculous. I mean, I did shoot that guy. I don't know if you could see it there, but I could see it at the time. Clearly shot him 2 or 3 times, and it didn't register. Now, all right, maybe I didn't get him. You know, we're all guilty of saying sometimes we did when we didn't. Maybe there's a bit of lag. Maybe I just missed him. You know, it's very feasible. But at the time, I thought I got him, but it's not the end of the world. But what I like about it as well... Oh, no, actually, I was going to say something. I'll save that for a second, because that'll be even more relevant then. I don't want to ruin anything. So yeah, I think I'll go back to this weapon, reload. Not sure if I pick anyone off, but I guess we'll soon find out. But I actually found it quite hard to aim with this weapon as well. And especially when a lot of people are there just sniping on corners. I mean, that's another situation. You know, I could have sworn I got him there. that little kind of hit detection thing comes up, like the cross, to indicate that you got him. But I don't know. Obviously didn't register enough to kill him, even though I technically shot him about 10 times. But one of them things, I'm not going to complain. Like I say, it's only a game. Who cares? When I was younger, I used to get really frustrated with things like that. Now I really don't care. Oh, this is what I was talking about. It's a destructionable environment. Now, this is really cool. I thought I'd just put this on. There's no point to this. But, the enemy, I don't think, had respawned to this point at this time, or arrived at this this juncture, if you like. So I thought, well, what I'm going to do, even though there's no enemies around, I'll just use the old grenade launcher or rocket launcher and do a bit of destruction. Didn't really do anything there, which disappointed me, but fair enough, maybe I missed the target. But I thought I'll line it up there, and as you can see. Now, that is amazing. I really love that, and it really makes a difference. Look, I mean, them holes that I've created them for everyone else to see in the game. It doesn't just affect my gameplay, it will affect everybody else's as well, because somebody could have went up in them buildings for cover, and now, well, they're not going to get much cover now, are they? Thanks to me. So I really love that. That's a really interesting aspect that they've added to the game. This guy here, I think, goes in. I do get him, but someone gets me in a second, I think. But I'm not quite sure whether he was putting the alarm, makes it sound like, a wake-up call in the morning. I'm not sure if he was turning the alarm off or putting it on. I'm not quite sure. What's the word? It's not alarm. There's some other word for it which has completely escaped my vocabulary at this moment in time. But yeah, I really like that destructible environment. I only just tried it on them buildings. I didn't try it on anything else. So I'm not sure to what degree you can use it and how often you can use it during a game. I think you can use it in the subway, because I'm sure I saw that, a few months ago. But like you see, he's in that building now, albeit on the right-hand side, where I essentially used the grenade launcher. I guess I could have. I mean, hindsight's a wonderful thing. I could have used it more central there, and if that was the case, he would have less cover. But I get him in a minute anyway, so it's not the end of the world. But it makes me laugh because I get 3 quick shots in. There you go, and I killed him. But surely he would have moved. If that was me and I was in his position, there's a guy, using the assault thing with the flashlight there. Why he's using a flashlight right at the end is beyond me. But anyway, there's the game, over and finished. So like I say, guys, I really like this game. It started off a little bit shaky, I thought. Well, I'm not sure whether this is going to be as good as what I think. But I actually really do like it. My only dilemma is, do I get it on the PlayStation 3 or the 360? Now, I've got to be honest, probably going to be 360. And that decision to go the 360 route is based on nothing other than the overwhelming majority of my friends are getting it on the 360, and it kind of makes sense for me to do that as well. The only one problem with the game I will very, very quickly say is that the guns do have quite a bit of recoil, but perhaps, to give it the benefit of the doubt, perhaps as you level up, it becomes a little bit easier to control, or you get used to it, either way. Apart from that, it just pretty much plays like Bad Company 2, but a little bit better. Anyway, guys, like I say, download the demo yourself. It's available Thursday. See if you like it, if it's your kind of thing. And until next time, see you later.